Hey guys, what's going on? It's been a while since we've done some news, but let's get into some bike news. Now, I know you guys think at this point I'm the Triumph channel, and I promise you I'm open to reviewing and talking about any bike that I can, but at this time my best connections are with a Triumph dealer, and they've been the most willing to give me bikes to review and such, and there is some big news coming out for some Triumph bikes, so let's talk about the Rocket 3 and the 2020 Daytona model that's going to be coming out. Firstly, I think the big hot ticket item is going to be the Rocket 3. Sport bikes aren't the most popular right now, and the Rocket 3 is sort of a new style coming in. It's more of a Ducati Diavel style bike. It's a roadster bike, so which are or muscle cruiser, whatever you want to call it. Here in our picture, we're going to be using a right apart for our sourcing, but we have a picture of the new GT and the R model. The R stands for Roadster, and the GT is, I guess, Grand Tour. The story basically gives us the specs of the bikes, and I'm happy to announce that when you buy a non-TFC Rocket 3, you're going to get the same power numbers. It's going to have the 170 horsepower, probably at the crank, and 163-ish horsepower, 163 foot-pounds of torque. So those numbers are matching what the TFC put out. The bikes look nice. I think the GT looks particularly nice. If we scroll up there, the GT is the bike on the left, and you can really tell that by the fly screen and the rear passenger seat back. That seat back is adjustable, and also the bike has option for some panniers on the side. My personal opinion on this bike, it's not much of a touring bike if you ask me. There's little to no wind protection and probably not a lot of storage. And that pillion seat looks pretty thin. If my wife's going to ride with me, I don't think she's going to want to really ride on that bike. It looks really nice, and I think the color scheme is fantastic. Probably for a solo person to do some traveling. If you like the wind in your face, you could transcontinental with that. But if you ask me, it's a roadster, and if we look at the R model, which is the roadster, it's good looking. It's much more sleek down. It's got the lack of that fly screen that sort of angles the wind up. Not that who knows how good that's going to perform at this point. We haven't ridden the bike, but really there's not too terribly much difference between the two bikes, other than the touring has some light touring capability. Now, I think the unfortunate thing here for me is that these are big, torquey engines that I think would do really great on a professional touring bike. I wish they had a option for that, even if it was upwards of $30,000. Now, these bikes are likely going to come in at $20,000. I think the GT will probably be 20 to 22, depending on the options. And I imagine you can get yourself an R model for, if I had to guess, 18,000 USD. Now, as soon as I can get my hands on one of these bikes, I will review it. Let's get on to the Daytona. So we have here a mock-up, or a drawing, rendering, if you will, of what the Daytona is going to be for 2020. They're going to be using the Moto 2 engine, and that is for MotoGP, essentially. For Moto 2 is the midweight engine design, and it's quite a lot of engine. Now, they show here you are going to be getting around 138 horsepower on the track. I don't know why they say on the track, other than these bikes have ride modes, and probably if you put it on track mode, it gives you more access to some of that power. Those are pretty good numbers, by the way. The Daytona is famously lightweight, famously narrow, and has a really good lean angle, really good handling characteristics, and also good torque throughout the range. So 138, that's really good. And what we're seeing, interestingly, with the Moto 2s at the current state is that they are really closing the gap between Moto 2 and MotoGP. So those times are really coming in. Yes, the 1000cc and up, 10. If you have high horsepower track where it's got straightaways, of course you're going to start to lose those mid-engine designs. But I guess we're finding that the turn-in capability of the midweight engines bikes now is so good that they're really closing the gap, which is it's quite interesting. And I recently rode a Daytona for the first time. It was a 675, I was pretty blown away by it for the power that it put out for that little engine. So I know that's debatably a little engine, but anyways, it's interesting news. Now, there is another bit of news with a 2020 Daytona. If you want to get your hands on one of these right now, there is a prototype project bike that is being sold at Cascade Moto Classics. It's an in-house custom. They took a 2017, I believe, Daytona front end and some other parts, and they applied it to a Street Triple RS. So you can get the feel, and they changed the handlebars and everything on it. So it looks really cool, and you can have all the nice new features, the TFC screen, the rider modes, the upgraded ABS, and all that kind of stuff. You can have it from an RS and have it in the format of a Daytona. Right now, it's a really cool bike. I'll show it here. Go down and check it out at least. So, cool bike. And if you guys have any questions, let me know. Please like, subscribe. If you don't like the video, tell me what to change. I'm always open to ideas, even the haters out there. Still appreciate you. So, you guys ride safe. I will catch you next time.